Watch me turn this messy spreadsheet into this report in only 30 seconds. Let me show you how I did it.
Okay, so first we're going to start with the old process. Their system emails them a copy of the report, and then this is the file that they can download. So we hit download, step 1. So then have to save it somewhere. So they would save it to their reporting folder or wherever they would on their computer. We'll just name it report A. Okay. So then we can't leave it like this. So we have to try to clean it up a little bit. And so the first thing we would do is we would want to bold our headers here so that we can see them a little better. We would want to make it where we can see all of the data so that things aren't cut off. So we have to get rid of any columns that we're not using. 2 out. And this is an example of exactly why this is so tedious, because everything is manual. So you make mistakes, and that increases how long it takes. It increases the chance that the reports aren't going to be accurate. So this is just not efficient at all. And so this one we're going to keep for the time being, because another step that they had is this is the past due invoices. And so any ones that have a date sent, then we know that we did send it to them and we're waiting for them to pay. But if it's the invoice sent, date sent is blank, then that means that we hadn't sent the invoice to them, and we don't want, to have a report where it says they didn't pay when they did pay. So we have to sort by our invoice sent date and then take out any that are missing a date. Okay, and then we can delete that because that does not appear to be on the final report. Okay, so we've got our job number, our date, customer, email, mobile phone, address, amount due, and job tag. Okay, and then it looks like they have made this gray, and then they have added lines in here. Okay. And then the question becomes, how do we get this to be all on the same page? So we have to decrease the size of these until we can see that everything is on one page. So now we finally have everything on one page. So that looks like our report here. So that timed was about 13 minutes. So 13 minutes to do one report, and they have 3 of these to do. So again, our process was download the report, save the report where we wanted it to be. We had to change the headers. We had to delete some columns that was the data that we don't need. We had to wrap the text, and then we had to play around with trying to get everything to fit on one page and then get it saved off where we wanted. So that whole process was about 13 minutes. So that is the previous process, the manual process that they have been using with Excel. Okay, so now watch me turn this messy spreadsheet process into a full report in 30 seconds. So here is our custom database system that we have created for this company. Our past due invoices report is the one that we were just working on. And so what this is designed to do is to link to the CSV file that they downloaded, and then make all those changes and then save the report. So here our tables are linked directly to the CSV files. So there's one that links to the file for the report that is specifically for their biggest client. So we have just renamed that ABC, the name of their biggest client. We just renamed that for purposes of, keeping their client private. The paid invoices, that's another CSV file for the report that they would want to see for paid invoices. Anything past due, that's the one that we were just working on, that you got to see the manual process. And then the ready to invoice. So those are going to be invoices where the invoice is ready, but it just needs something like the email address for the client is missing, so we can't send it. Or there may be a question about the pricing of a material or something like that. So if it's just needing a little bit of attention, but we want to make sure we don't forget about it. So that's all the reports that they had. And then this one up here is actually their largest client has some invoices that were done manually that aren't in their system and won't come up on their CSV file. And so they have asked us to make sure that they are appended to the bottom of any of their reports for past due. So that would be the CSV files for the reports that they have. And so our queries here are programmed to make all of the changes that we discussed in terms of renaming any of the columns, taking out any of the columns of data that they don't need, reformatting any dates that they want to have reformatted, taking out, remember we went through and took out any of the ones that did not have an invoice date sent. So those kinds of things. And so all of that is done within these queries. And then we have our main menu here, which is what the client sees when they open the database. This is what they see. This is the only thing they have to interact with. They don't have to do anything over here on the left. As a matter of fact, when we deploy this to them, we actually hide this so that they don't have to look at that. They don't have to do anything over there. All they have to do is work with these buttons in this interface. And so then at the bottom, it is their reports. So the new process, I download the file here. I'm going to open it up. All right, I'm going to save it to where the client saves all of their reports. So this is our past due. We'll save at that. So then we go in here and we click past due invoices report. I'm just going to save it on top of the past due report and click save. And there is our report, our past due invoices report. Everything's already been formatted. We have the name of the report at the top. We've got the date that it was ran, how many pages it is. And for the actual client's report, it does have their logo up here as well. I've taken that off for purposes of this video. So I'm going to go into their, where we just saved it at, our past due here, so that you can see here is the report. So this is the new report. And again, that took me less than 30 seconds to run that report. The client wanted to go with the most cost-effective package that we have, which is our $500 package. And that just includes linking straight to your CSV files, making the changes in queries, and setting up a interface for you and your reports. And so, this was our $500 package, and we also have a button down here that has run all reports, and that only runs these because those are the ones that they run daily. This one over here is just kind of ad hoc, so we put it in a separate area so that they can run it as they would like to have it run. But these are the ones that they run daily. So we have a button here that runs all of them at one time. If they want to run them all, they would not have to run them one at a time. You saw the manual process, and that was just one report. So if they want to do all three, they can do all three. All they're doing is downloading the CSV files, saving them where we have linked them to save, and so that runs their reports, and that's so much faster. So this is actually one of the most popular database systems that my company creates. It's part of our Excel to Access program, where we take your existing Excel processes and automate them. So this particular database was only $500. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in having developed for your company, feel free to email me at amanda@amandanicoleconsulting.com or visit my website at www.amandanicoleconsulting.com.